Hola, mi gente, and welcome to Cuéntame con Sonia Camacho. This short form podcast features the stories of Latinos from our community, from engineers, business owners, students, and so much more. Each episode will give you a quick boost of motivation and encouragement before starting your day. I'm your host, Sonia Camacho. Thank you for being here. Now let's get into today's episode. Welcome back to Cuéntame con Sonia Camacho. Today's guest is Ambar Gavidia. She's originally from Venezuela and moved to the U.S. in 2007. She studied chemical engineering and graduated in 2020 from the University of South Florida in Tampa. Ambar, thank you so much for being here. Please tell us a little bit more about your journey and how you came to the U.S.
Sure, Sonia. Thank you so much for having me on your podcast. I was really excited to do this. So, like you had mentioned, my family and I moved from Venezuela in 2007. That's kind of when things started to get a little bit more dangerous and a little bit difficult to live there. So my parents decided to just move us to Miami to provide me and my sisters with better opportunities. And obviously, like a lot of our stories, English was definitely a barrier. The culture shock of moving to the United States and all that was difficult. But I was always very academically inclined, so I knew that I had to just push myself and learn the English the right way and do my best. And I think that's what that really is what helped me keep going and had that drive to just be better and make that dream of having a better life come true. So like I was saying, me being academically inclined, college was a sure thing for me. And because of moving here, it's not always so easy. So we were in a little bit of a legal limbo when while we were waiting for our green card. Like we were allowed to stay in the United States, but like I couldn't get FAFSA help or anything like that. So going to college was a huge challenge, and I had to sort of figure it out. And thankfully, community college was an option for me. And even at that moment when I was disappointed and I thought, man, I cannot go to a 4-year college right off the bat, community college was probably one of the best decisions that I've made to this day. Whether or not I was in the circumstance that I was in, it was probably one of the most formative years. And I'll tell you, because having that exposure, having the time, and being able to take different classes is what drew me to STEM. Meeting and having that connection with different professors and the different students, like from all backgrounds, is what really drew me to pave the way in the career that I'm at right now. When I first started college, I wasn't even thinking about STEM. I was thinking, I'm great at reading and writing, so I am going to do international relations and political science. And then I had to take a chemistry class and I fell in love with it. And I also loved our professor. And to this day, she is one of my biggest role models. I still keep in touch with her. And one day in class, she showed us a video of the production of ammonia and how intricate it is. And I was just like, oh my goodness, this is cool. And I kept asking questions and just investigating. And she was like, well, if you really want to do something like this, that's chemical engineering for you. So I was like, cool. And because of the good relationship that we had, and I had done really well in the class, I also had the opportunity to TA for further on. And I think that experience right there was what really sedimented that I truly wanted to stay in STEM. It was the challenge, but also the community, right? Like being able to hang out with people that are bright and that have that same drive and interest as you. That was just something that really, like I was saying, it sedimented the path that I really wanted to follow. So going back again, I had to stay in community college for about 4 years, which is 2 years longer than the regular community college attendee. And that's because of my legal status. So as soon as I was able to obtain a green card, I took the opportunity and I moved to a 4 year college, where I didn't know what was going on because I'm also the oldest sibling, so I was the
Oh,
first one
you're the
to
guinea pig.
I was yes, exactly. I was the first one to figure out what to do, how to do it. I didn't really have an older anybody to guide me through what the right thing was to do. So when I get to, I used to be in the community college, the big fish in the small pond, and now I get to this huge institution, and I'm just like, what am I doing here? Definitely the imposter syndrome and the like everything just came crumbling, being away from home and all these things happening all at once, all these changes. And I think what really helped me was getting involved in engineering societies like SHEP, SWE. The community is so strong in there, and their values just align so much with what I was bringing in from community college already, that I just felt right at home with them. And one of the things that they had told me was, well, you can't just go to school. You have to get an internship. You have to put your name out there. And I'm like, how do I even do that? I just got a degree. Like, I don't know how these things work. So through professional development, through those organizations, I was able to obtain my first internship. And I'll tell you, I think one of the best advice that I like to give to younger um, you know kids that are trying to get into the STEM field and all is, your network is your net worth. It is absolutely insane the places that your hard work and displaying that to the right people, how far it can take you. Um, I I went to the SWE conference in 2017, and I very randomly bumped into one of my TAs when I took thermodynamics like the year before. And we were just chatting and catching up. And all of a sudden, she comes and brings her boss. And we started talking and chatting and everything about anything and everything except anything professional or technical. And this was for the company Bridgestone, which is the company that I work for currently. So that's prefacing to that, right? An hour after I had that very lighthearted conversation with them, I get a call from HR and they're like, hey, would you like to come in for an interview? And I was like, sure. So interview went well. I get an offer for an internship, and that put me I was an intern in a corporate position. And that was able, like, through that, I was able to meet so many people that had been working in the industry for a really long time. And it just exposed me to so much. And I was able to really build up a good toolbox and skill set to keep pushing myself to the next level professionally. So I am very thankful for that opportunity. And from that, knowing the right people and displaying the hard work and constantly being prepared when you go to meetings and being resourceful and being an asset to your team helped me to be able to connect with other individuals and connect with other professionals that were like, you know what, I really want Ambar to be a part of my team. So I kept coming back for internships, and on my last round, I they offered me a full-time position. And it was all like, I was very intentional with how I went about it. I don't want this to come across as like, oh yeah, just be buddy buddies with the manager and you'll be fine. No. I was very intentional in every single meeting that I went to. I made sure that I was fully prepared. I made sure that my presentations were very to the point, informative. I made it in a way so that my work could speak for itself, and my resourcefulness could add value to the team, and that echoed, and that is truly what helped me to keep going. Even now, when I got my first job within Bridgestone, I I spent about 2 years in a manufacturing setting, and that is not necessarily what I wanted to do when I first left school. I wanted to work in a R&D, and working in projects with people that do are in that area and showing, hey, I got what it takes by exposing myself in those situations. Guess what? Now I'm working for R&D and in product development, which is what I really wanted to do from the get-go out of school. And yeah, and I think honestly, I love what you're doing with the podcast, and this is just kind of to wrap up, but I love what you're doing with the podcast because I wish I would have had somebody like a an older sister, somebody to say these things to me, like, hey, don't give up, don't let your imposter syndrome get in the way. You are supposed to be in that room, you're doing a good job, and have that push and that validation to just be like, si se puede, you can do it, just work hard, be yourself, be intentional, be present, and whatever you put yourself, like whatever you set yourself to do, it will come true.
Wow. Ambar, I just want to say this was one of the most motivating episodes that I've recorded to this day. Like, I feel like you hit every single note, and I know that so many of the listeners are probably going to be able to relate so much. And I'm really excited about this. And I just want to say thank you for sharing all of the good insight and sharing your story. It was so easy to follow along to. Like, I don't know, sometimes when I tell stories, I go like all over the place. So you did an amazing job. Dory, is there any final piece of advice that you want to leave the listeners with?
One of the things that I learned by working hard and all is the importance of life work balance. Please, 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 yes, work hard. Yes, put yourself out there. Yes, prioritize um, networking in your career, but most of all, prioritize yourself. Because when you're okay and everything's okay with you, then you can do wonders. What I wanted to say also was the emphasis on community, just making sure that you are proactive in being in the right community, that people that push you and people that will hold you accountable, and in a community that you can see yourself grow as well. I think that is so important. And not only when I was a student, that was important to me, but also when as an adult, I need I need to have people that will help me. It's just healthy to have the right people that make you feel good and people that will help you along your path, even if it's not in STEM, even if it's just day to day. But community, especially when you're isolated in school, it is so important.
I feel like not enough people know that like who you surround yourself with is who you are. And like I really found that out in college as well. And when I made the transition to, join certain clubs, and now I had friends that would really uplift me and they understood what I was going through, even outside of just STEM. I feel like that's kind of like where my life started to change and shift, and I was becoming more productive and motivated. So I 100% agree with what you're saying.
Yeah, 100%. Even to this day, my friends, I try to keep. I've been very blessed with the fact that my circle of friends, they're strong Latinas, professional
Mhm.
women, and we just like every time that we feel like, oh gosh, what am I doing here? It's like, nah, girl, you're right where you're supposed to be. Like, keep
Yeah.
going, échale ganas, like you got this.
I love that. Yes, and let this episode be a sign if you are a student right now. Take it from Ambar and me. Getting involved is one of the quickest ways to really grow your community and get these opportunities. Kind of like Ambar was saying, we both have similar experiences in that sense of getting involved in our whole lives pretty much changing after that. So if you are a student, there's a light at the end of the tunnel, and it's up to you to really take your own destiny in your own hands. So definitely get involved with clubs and organizations. And I really hope that this episode was
just that boost of motivation that some of you need today. So again, Ambar, thank you so much for being here. I will have all of her socials linked on this episode. Please connect with her. She seems like such a great mentor to have if you're in the same situation. And with that, I will see you guys in the next episode.
Follow the podcast on all social platforms at Cuéntame con Sonia Camacho. Listen to us on Spotify, Apple Music, and YouTube. Want to be featured in a future episode? Email cuéntame.sonia@gmail.com. Thank you to our equipment sponsor, Sure.